All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. And peace, safety, and blessing to the hopeful elect throughout the four winds. Through the Spirit, I want to identify America in the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, because a lot of people just with Babylon, you know what I'm saying, they don't believe that's America. They think it's too great of a place, but hopefully this is edifying to the elect. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to start off with Revelation 17. I'm going to read 1. I'm going to just start at 1. It's like in between, I'm going to be breaking it down. Okay. It says, and there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 veils, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, and I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth on many waters. Now, we're going to see what that whore is. Okay. You go into the Hebrew, that word is, you got it, porne. Just like where you get porn, that's exactly what it is. Now, by the process of elimination, we're going to cancel out some of these definitions, because the first one is a woman who sells her body for sexual uses. Now, that can't be it, because a physical woman can't sit on many waters. Okay. The next one is a prostitute, a harlot, one who yields herself to defilement for the sake of gain. That can't be either. Okay, because she can't be sitting upon many waters. B, any woman indulging in unlawful sexual encounters, whether for gain or for lust. That can't be it either, because she can't sit upon many waters. That's a physical person selling her body. Okay, the second one, we're getting a little closer to home now. I said it's a metaphor, an idolatress. Okay, here we go, the home run hitter right here. Of Babylon, Rome, the chief seat of idolatry. So we understand that this harlot that sit on many waters is going to actually be a place. Okay? It's going to be a place. All right? Now, and let's check this out. Let's kind of like quickly identify. Okay, I'm going to just read it. Revelations 2 and 9. It says, I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Now, that whore that's sitting on many waters, and when you look at the last verse in the definition of the whore, which is porn, it says of Babylon, Rome, the chief seat of idolatry. Now, when we look over here, it says that same chief seat of idolatry, it says, but are the synagogue of Satan. Now, that word synagogue, the synagogue of Satan, that means the chief house. That means the higher up of Satan. So the same whore that's sitting on many waters, she's going to be in rulership. And it says they're going to be claiming to be the chosen people of the Most High. But guess what? They're really the chief house of idolatry and the chief house of Satan on the left-hand side. So we have these people being identified. That's what this is doing. It's identifying who these people actually are and who America is. It's that chief house. Okay. Now this is the definition of synagogue. Okay, it's let me see, synagogue. It says a bringing together, gathering as of fruits, a contracting. Now, when these people, when you look at them up here, it says the blasphemy. Okay, let me see. The chief seat. Now, chief seat. If it's a seat going on, it's some sitting down, and that means that they're gathering together in a certain place. Okay, and it says in a synagogue. So, the synagogue is where the fake Jews actually worship today. Okay, they're the chief house of Satan. And that's why this definition, when it says synagogue, it says a bringing together, a gathering as of fruits, because you bring them all together, a contracting, like a contract. 2, in the New Testament, an assembling together of men, a synagogue. So you have these people gathering together, but we know they're fakes. Okay, they're gonna be fakes. So this is that harlot that sits on many waters, right here. The Statue of Liberty represents America, and that's that whore, because this represents America. The Statue of Liberty represents America, Lady Liberty. Okay, and it only represents Babylon or America. Okay, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Now, we have on one, it says the whore. Now it's saying fornication, and we have a woman. Okay, so this whore, America, that sit on many waters, it says, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk through her philosophies. Okay, her philosophies, democracy, and so-called Jesus love everybody. That shit spread throughout the world. Other nations didn't really have no part in Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Every other nation had their God. You know what I'm saying? Like the Muslims had Allah. The East Indians had Krishna. I think it was the Chinese had Buddha. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had their own. But as soon as America went into other people's countries, they started spreading the wine of her fornication. And you know, wine gets people drunk. Now these people are drunk off the wine of America. Okay? So I put right there, all nations are somehow tied to America through trading. Okay? Verse 3, it says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abomination and filthiness of her fornication. Now, here we go right here. See if I can turn this to the side. Now, that's the 7 heads, and that's the woman sitting on the beast. It represents that represents kingdoms, empires, rulerships. Okay, that's exactly what that beast was. And the one that sat on top of it was America, because that's the EU, that's the United Nations, that's NATO, and that's all governments or kingdoms that's ruled by Esau. Okay, Hope this is edifying. Okay, now the beasts of the kingdom are power structure. Okay, and to prove, this is proof that the beast is a power structure. It's proof. When we go to Daniel 7 and 19 and 20, it says, "Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which is diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamped the residue of his feet." Now this is kingdoms being, well, I'm just going to speak for itself. This is 20. It says, "And the 10 horns that were in his head, and the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell." Okay, now that's that same beast. That's that same beast, but 3 of them fell. It says, "Even the horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows." Now, this represents power structures. Okay, and it says, "And the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell." So it was 3 kingdoms. It was 3 kingdoms, and 3 of them fell. And here are those 3 kingdoms. Okay, it was the Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, and the Grecians. So the one Daniel's speaking about right now is speaking of Rome. Okay, the Romans, and this is proof. Okay, now if you look closely, if you read verses 21 right here in Daniel 7:21, it says, "I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints." So the same horn, that same horn of the Grecians, because the Grecians conquered the Medo-Persians, but the Grecians were also Edomites. Okay, the Grecians were Edomites. So those 3 fell, but the Roman Empire was the empire that was full of strength. Okay, it was strong. Now it says, "I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them." Now when you look on here, look at the time on Rome. It says BC 168, and notice when you go from the top, the head of gold, that was Babylon, the first Babylonian captivity, is 605, and look how the numbers go down. 605 to 539. Look at the Medo-Persians, 539 to 331. Look at the Grecians, 331 to 168. See how the numbers go down? Now, in here, the Roman Empire, it has 168, and now the numbers are going up again. So the thing that you catch in there is when you go to a book. Okay, okay, so this here right here, this explains who the saints are. Okay, so we'll get a better understanding of who it's talking to when it says, "Behold, the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them." These are the saints. It says Psalms, this is Psalms 148 and 14. It says, "He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye Yahweh." Now, the Roman Empire was going to go against and conquer That's why it says Daniel 7:21, and prevail against them, against the saints. So these Romans prevailed against us. They were going to do it, and it was going to happen. And here's the account of it right here. It's a book called Babylon of Timbuktu by Rudolph Windsor, a scholar at Temple University. And when you go to page 84, it says, in the year, keep in mind, let me get out. Keep in mind, now let's go back to this statue. Look at the year that we went into captivity under the Romans. See how the BC has 168? When you go in there, it goes 168 all the way down to 100 to 0 and all the way back up 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 476. So, with that being said, when you look in here, it says in the year 65 BC, the Romans, we was just looking at that, and armies under Pompey captured Jerusalem in 70 AD. Okay? Hope y'all caught that. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period of Pompey and Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa. The Jews fled into Africa, fleeing Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. Now check this out. We were fleeing Roman persecution from the Romans. I want y'all to, that's why I'm talking like this. I want y'all to really see this. Fleeing from the Romans and persecution and slavery. Now let's go back. Up here, it says in Daniel 7:21, I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. That horn in 70 AD was the Romans. So we were conquered by white folks, or Caucasians, not white folks, but Edomites. And they prevailed against us. That's why when we read in here, it said we left our land and fled into Africa. Now let's get that account in the scriptures, in the Bible. This is Matthew 2:13. It says, and when they were departed, behold, this is Joseph and Mary, who had Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. It says, and when they were departed, behold, the angel of Yahweh appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child, which would have been Yahushua, and his mother, which would be Mary, and flee into Egypt. That's Africa. We just read that a little higher up, that we fled into Africa, fleeing Roman persecution. But that's not this time right here, though. But that's just letting you know, when we always got in trouble, we ran into a land where people were dark skinned and we looked like them. Okay? It says, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Herod wanted Yahushua dead. Now here goes the one I was really shooting for. This is Matthew 24. Now keep in mind, it just told Joseph to take Yahushua when he was a child to flee to Africa. Now, this is what we just read. It says, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Those mountains, Africa. Let them which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. So this right here is actually when you seen 70 AD when they was putting let me see, it was going to be those people, those Romans coming into the land and slaughtering our people, because it was already prophesied that that was going to happen. When you go up here and you read in here, it says, just look at the end. It says over 1 million Jews fled into Africa. That's why when it said fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery, they were running from it. That's why when you look in here, it tells you, let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. And look at 19, it says, and woe to them, destruction to them that are with child. So it's letting them know that when these Romans come in here, get your ass out of there. Flee to the mountains. Run your ass into Africa, because if they catch you, you dead. Okay? Hope this was edifying. This is just part 1. I'm coming with the rest of it. Want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. And peace and safety to the elect. Shalom.